We good?
Yeah, we're good.
Dope. What's good, y'all? Hope everybody is living well and staying blessed. I'm your host, Marcus B, and as always, I'm with my boy, Evan Simmons.
Yo,
How you doing, brother?
I'm hanging in there, man.
Good, man. This is episode 3 of Holla at Your Boy, and today, me and Evan talked about anxiety, depression, overall mental health in the teaching profession, our individual first years and things that we went through as first year teachers, and just some general things that helped us get through them and what people can be on the lookout for as they enter their first year, or just in general as their teachers, things that they might not have learned up until now. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you follow us on all things social media. All the links are listed below in the description. And yeah, man, you got anything else?
That's it.
Nope. As always, y'all be easy. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Peace. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing
Good,
great.
man. So we both started here in Temple
Yep.
right at the same time, and
First years of teaching.
yeah, right. So first 2 years down, whether or not it was a good second year, it is what it is.
Yeah. Short.
Damn fly. Go away. But I know that we both come from this same, almost the same level of I'll just say excellence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where we expect the things that we do
Yeah.
to go great because we care a lot about them, and we put in the work to make sure that it gets there.
We got high expectations.
Yeah, we got high expectations.
Yeah.
Thank you. All that to be said, this was actually the first episode that I wanted to do for the podcast, but with the nature of the world, I felt like
Right.
having Dwaylen on it made a little bit more sense for the not pushiness, immediacy
Yeah, the immediacy of it. Yeah.
of it. But nonetheless, I want to talk about the mental health of being not only a first year teacher, but just a teacher in general.
Yeah.
So just with that small statement, what do you think about?
Well, my first thought is the people talk about teachers getting burned out. So where we tend to use a lot in teaching, because I think teaching is one of those things that it's selfless, but it also can be extremely tiring because of how selfless it is.
Yeah, okay, I agree with that.
Yeah, like we use words like burnout and selfless, and those words are extremely exhausting, and we tend to ignore mental health because it's just like, oh, I just burned out. Like maybe you're just ignoring your mental health, maybe instead of actually focusing on like how you're doing mentally rather than just how's my band doing. Like no, like think about yourself for a second.
And like you're saying, it's a very selfless act. If your head's in the right place and you care about what you're doing, it's a selfless act in the sense that like I'm gonna stay at the school until 9 p.m. making sure that I'm studied up on all my scores,
Right.
and then I can think of all the issues that arise when I teach this part of the lesson tomorrow.
Right.
So that way I'm on top of it. So that way the kids can learn better. So that way they get a better outcome. And
The amount of days we can do like 6:30 to like 8 or 9, like
Easy.
like the amount of like we can do that like all the time.
yeah,
And I know a lot of band directors especially tend to do that like too much. We tend
Yeah.
to be like, all right,
there's definitely a healthy balance with it. And, some of those top programs, people would argue that it's unhealthy. And that's kind of what I want to talk about is just where that mental headspace is. And obviously we're not going to sit here and talk for anybody else. We're only going to talk about our own experiences and things that we've come into contact with,
Right.
and the people we've come into contact with. But like you're saying, with as far as burnout goes, I know it's really common on the percussion education side of things, especially because I think what is it, summer last year, there was talks amongst the community of percussion teachers and just addressing this issue, saying that I think the average lifespan of a percussion director is maybe 3 years.
Makes sense.
And I'm like, dude, that's really depressing.
Well, it's so like like the thing is with being a percussion director, for those of you that aren't like percussion or band directors
Familiar,
like,
just
yeah,
familiar
with
with
the
it.
word of it, they like you go from in your case you go to 3 middle schools.
Yep.
You teach 1, 2, 3 bands at the high school. You help teach the percussion. Like you have your entire percussion program at the high school. You 3 bands of percussion, and you're working with the middle schools all the time.
Yeah.
Like you're going all day and you're spreading yourself out. Like talk about spreading yourself thin. Like literally, like your schedule is spread out thin because it has to be.
And it's like what we were talking about at the beginning. I couldn't see it being any other way. Like that's just my nature of work. It's like, oh, word, I'm the only guy running it. In my head, I'm like, oh, that's super dope. That means I've got hands on everything, and then I can control everything, and then that means that the kids are going to learn the way that I want them to learn.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
downside of it is like what I'm saying, where kids get burned out
Yeah.
super quick, and it's because of this is the issue with a lot of the percussion directors is the district isn't big enough to have 3 directors at the middle school. Because as dope as it would be to have your assistant director be a percussion director, that's one section of the overall band program, as opposed to if you're a head band director's brass guy, it makes a lot of sense for you to hire the woodwind guy.
Right.
And then one of you just has a little bit more experience teaching percussion, and then you just kind of get away with it.
Right.
And I'm not taking anything away from those head directors, those assistant directors that percussion is their secondary instrument. A lot of them are doing really good jobs with what they're doing, but I can't teach saxophone as good as you do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I spent, from the age of 11 to 20, how old was I? 21.
Yeah.
10 years working on the musculature in my face and playing woodwinds and doing all those things. So that way, whenever I get into teaching, I'm kind of built up for that. Now I took, percussion methods when I was in college, and I've seen drum stuff the entire time, but it's definitely a specialized thing that a lot of people, if you're not in percussion land, if you're not working on percussion the whole time, you definitely don't get it as much. The same goes the other way.
Exactly.
I spend years working on air and all that stuff. You don't work on air. You
Yeah,
never
man.
worked
The
on
concept
air.
of air is still very, very new to me.
Right.
And it makes sense, but I don't.
You don't literally work with air, so
Yeah.
It's
I don't need to with my instruments, so therefore
just breathing.
the idea of
Playing drums.
just make sure you don't make sure you breathe so you don't pass out.
Right.
As opposed to make sure you breathe properly so that way you can get a good tone and good. And that's all things that I'm learning as I'm also on top of all the percussion stuff I do. I also teach the third band at the high school, so I'm learning all that stuff as well. But all that to be said, that's kind of a good segue into the mental state of you and I last year, because you got to do UIL this year, and for the most part,
went better,
much better,
Yeah.
right?
Wasn't perfect, but it went
Still wasn't what you were looking for, but it was a step up from year one, which is all that we can hope for, that you're getting better year to year.
better. Right.
But that first year, dog, I know it was super rough for you as well as it was super rough for me.
Yeah.
So kind of give me a breakdown of what that experience was like going into it. How'd you feel during it and post situation?
Yeah. So, well, here's how my first year teaching really went. I coming into teaching. Let me go back to my high school experience. I went to a pretty top performing high school.
Shout out
what's
Allen High School.
Good times there. And then I went to the University of North Texas, and I, great performing programs, great teaching programs. Really learned a lot there, and I did a lot of student teaching and field teching in Frisco ISD,
Yeah.
Liberty High School, Reedy High School. Like, really enjoyed my time there. But I spent so long operating on that like high end level. Like, everyone for the most part has like high expectations. Everyone's really pushing.
Yeah.
For the top of the top. And then when I got to Temple, the thing that I didn't like think about, after working all that stuff and having all my expectations was there are kids. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I spent all that time, doing a little bit of teaching and, kind of getting good at it, but I didn't really know how to relate to a kid. And it kind of dawned on me whenever, I was really bad at classroom management that first year, especially with my band. And I had a kid actually tell me, she wound up being like one of my like great eighth graders.
Yeah. As they do.
She told me like literally to my face, she was like, "Mr. Simmons, you don't know how to talk to kids." I was like, you know what?
Jeez.
Yeah, you're right. Like, I don't know how to. I was really bad at I was really good at demanding stuff.
Yeah.
But I wasn't being what they call a warm demander. I wasn't being like, not necessarily nice, but like, getting to like that personal side of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if you like, it's that thing of like, your mother's going to give you a hug, but if she really wants to like, tell you like, hey, don't do that again, she's going to give you a little tighter hug. Like, it's one of those things. Like, I was really bad at being a warm demander. So then, when it comes to like rehearsal and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
I can't make my demands and do what I want to, as they teach you to in school.
Yeah.
Like, have your plans, do this exactly the way, and the kids will say yes every single time.
Just automatically. If you just said everything right, the
Right.
kids will get it. If you don't say it right, then yeah, they won't get it.
Right. Like, I can have all these like great lesson plans and all this stuff, and then you actually like get in front of them, and kids are like, especially our kids. I mean, being a Title I school and being a school, a district where the norm isn't saying yes. The norm isn't like
Yeah.
having immediate respect for like or having respect in a different way.
Having blind respect.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that was kind of like the what I grew up in was kind of that like, yeah, you say yes to your teachers, and but it's a different culture.
Yeah.
And that was kind of that first year was kind of getting used to that switch of like, oh no, they're not going to say yes every single time.
Yeah.
They can.
They will
Yeah.
if they want to, or if they feel
If they feel comfortable doing
with you, they trust you, all
Right.
those all those things that the university touches on lightly.
it. Right. Yeah. The amount of like times I could have been like, hey, can we just have a class on like relating to students? Like, just the entire class on like, let's just talk about like talking to a 13-year-old. Like,
What that means,
right.
how you should go about it. Yeah. No, I mean, there's a slew of topics we could have as far as stuff they don't teach you in college.
I'll have to do that on a different episode.
But yeah,
one of these
that's
days.
that's many episodes down the line. But okay, so as you're saying, you don't know how to connect with your kids.
Yeah, that first year was really, really bad at that.
Yeah. So then, what did that lead to ultimately?
That led to the expectations I have not being met.
Oh, wild electronics.
Yeah, cool.
Amen.
That led to the expectations that I had not being met.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like spending my entire first 10 years of band with super high expectations, when you don't get those expectations, you get real sad.
Yeah.
And I spent, the majority after that, I was trying to, have a brave face about it. Like, I'm going to just keep pushing through. But I was really, really bummed out.
Yeah.
And not that I was like comparing myself to like other people that were like in my same boat or whatever. Like in the, they graduated with me or whatever.
I mean,
like,
bro, you try not to,
Right.
but you're going to acknowledge it to some extent.
You're going to at least acknowledge, everyone gets to take a picture with their sweepstakes trophy, and I didn't.
Yeah.
But, that is a big thing when it comes to that idea of like burnout and working yourself to the bone. You forget about the fact that you need to be like happy with what you did. And that's a practice I've been trying to do a lot more, and that tends to actually lead to better results.
It's weird how that works out, right?
Right, where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna be happy with how today went, and typically the next day isn't so bad. Yeah, it's just weird how that works, but
Word. So yeah, dude, I just remember being at UIO with you, and then just seeing the, I don't want to say disappointment.
it was disappointment, if you want to call that face that I made.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, yeah. But let's be very clear that it's not disappointment in the kids,
Right.
and
No.
it's everything we're saying right now is not about the issues with the kids, but
For me, it was definitely all like
internal stuff.
I was like, yep, this is the score that, despite what they say, like this is the score that I got.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's hard to say. I don't even know what what the argument is against it of that statement, but just like, you're the one that taught the kids,
Right.
So therefore, it's you.
Yeah, I mean, like the biggest thing that I've heard is that whenever a band director doesn't have a very good band, it's not because of the kids; it's because the teacher didn't teach them.
The teacher didn't get all the stuff across, and that's where the discouragement came from your face, because you thought you had done everything right. You thought to an extent, you were like, this is the proper approach. If I say this, this, and this, when this comes up, that's going to fix this problem.
Right.
And then if I do all these nice little pegs into the board, boom, beautiful picture at the end.
Yeah, if everything like works out the way I planned it, because I mean the way I kind of operate is I'm a planner. I like to.
God, this gnat is
got a gnat
just
right in the
coming
face.
for me, bro.
Hey, those things are aggressive, man.
They are, especially when they're alone. Scratch that. It's usually when they're with packs, they're aggressive.
Yeah.
You ever seen a gnat by itself?
Yeah.
It's the first one for me, dog.
You have like a dead produce.
Yeah, the bananas are going bad.
That'll do it.
That'll do it.
That's when I had. Yeah, we'll.
Anyways.
I'll cut that part out.
Man, keep it, whatever.
Where are we at? So that disappointment came from, I'm a planner. I like to have my plans set out. And then when I forgot about, the human factor in what we were doing, the fact that we're kids and the fact that they're kids and we have to work with them and make sure that they're getting it rather than like your plan is working.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. That's like a huge, like, if you want to be an educator that's like effective, don't worry about your plan working. Worry about the kids getting it. Because that'll like, I think this second year enhanced that ability for me to be able to just like, am I worried about what the kids are doing? And that usually, the expectations kind of happen once that starts happening. But yeah, that plan kind of fell apart. So I had to change my perspective. But that's a part of that first year, man. It's
part of that first year.
You've got expectations and you've got these high ideals and all the stuff that you want to work out. But you got to shoot for it. So I mean, like for you, what did you think what were some of your expectations?
I mean, I was in the same boat, man. Like I had some fantastic college professors, and they ran it down. And although a lot of the stuff that they taught was middle school focused, as far as classroom and UIL prep and setup and
That's interesting because
all those stuff.
We were all high school based.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't ever cover like below grade 3 music.
Really?
Yeah.
See,
So when I got to grade 1 and 2, I was like, oh, that
my
music.
my professor, shout out to Mary Ellen Cabot.
Yeah.
Dr. Mary Ellen
Yeah.
Cavett. Sorry, ma'am. I don't know if you're
Speak
gonna
your
watch
name
this,
right.
but I apologize, Dr. Mary Ellen Cavett.
Right.
Nobody yell at me. Nobody should front this video to her. But her logic behind it was like, a majority of y'all gonna get out there and either be a middle school director or second, third assistant.
Right.
Ideally, in all your bands here at college, you'll learn those 5s and 4s, those really top
Right. Yeah.
top
The
pieces.
standard band lit.
Yeah, standard bandlet. But that's not what you're going to teach. So
Right.
why would I spend time teaching you that? Let's learn about these grade 1s and grade 2s and grade 3s. Right? So like again,
Come on.
Again, so if so it just based off that statement. That's the school of thought that I come from.
That's good.
That I grew up in, and it's a great school of thought. So I'm like, okay. So if I just do everything they tell me, I should be straight.
Right. Like everything should work out.
Everything should work out.
You just
Just-
follow the
just-
plan.
yeah. And on the and then the advantage I had was I'm used to teaching this style of kid. You know what I mean? I actually think I would struggle in being in front of a group of kids that has that blind respect.
Yeah, okay.
Because I wouldn't be able to relate to them on the level that I'm meant to relate to the kids that we have
Right.
here in Temple.
Because that's not your experience.
That's not my experience. You know, I grew up. You grew up teaching in the Dallas area, Dallas Fort Worth area. I don't really know. What,
Yeah.
Frisco. What is that considered?
Dallas Fort Worth. Yeah.
Dallas Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Which one is it proper?
Dallas.
Dallas. All right.
But it's like 30 minutes away from Dallas, so I don't know. Suburbs.
Whatever.
It's suburbs.
That area is confusing. Nobody really understands it. But people get mad if you say Fort Worth and not Dallas, and Dallas and
Yeah,
not Fort
yeah,
Worth.
don't do that.
Whatever.
Fort Worth.
Y'all
No
up
offense.
north.
No offense to Fort Worth.
Y'all up north. I taught almost exclusively in San Antonio, and the majority of my experience was actually teaching in south side, southwest side of San Antonio. So, A, that's where I'm from, and B, so if that's where I'm from, those are the kids that I'm teaching,
Right.
and then I get here to Temple, and they're the exact same way. Like, I'm like, all right, cool, man. Check the box. Boom.
Right.
Got the good education background. Boom. Got the good personal background. It should be straight.
Right.
And I'd already done the formula because me and my homies, we did a lot of that indoor percussion stuff, and we got a couple state medals with different high schools. So I was like, all right, man. So I got the band philosophy squared away. I got the personalities, and then I've got the taking kids that aren't that great and getting them to a high level at the end of the season. I'm like, dude, it's gonna be light work.
That should work out.
Yeah,
Like,
it should work again on paper, just like you. If you do all these things correctly,
Right.
it'll do it.
Right.
And it didn't. And it was heartbreaking. God bless, it was heartbreaking. That was such a rough week for me. Because it wasn't just the UIL thing.
Right.
It wasn't just the UIL thing. So, on top of that, I had started the indoor program here at Temple, indoor drumline. They had never done it. They had tried doing it the year before, didn't work out, scheduling things. But I came in and I was like, bro, no matter what,
We'll try it out.
we're gonna do it. That's what my experience is. Like, if I'm gonna do anything good, it's gonna be that.
Okay.
Like,
Right.
I've marched it 3 years, taught it for 7, 6.
That should happen.
That should happen, right? Like, I'm gonna go through the same problems that I already went through, so I know how to manage it. The band side of things, there's a couple curveballs that can be thrown in there that I'm
Right.
not too certain on. Different fingerings on the fly. I can't get that off the top of my head, but you're not making do your dot. I can tell you exactly why that's not happening.
Oh.
You're missing this entrance. You're not looking where you're supposed to. All those indoor things. So we go to state champs, and just it was a rough season as it is, because I was running the program by myself, and the kids didn't really know what was going on. I didn't really know what was going on. I was a lot less prepared than I thought I was,
Right.
than I had been, And, we ended up placing 25th out of 28th.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, man, that's the lowest I've ever scored for indoor.
Yeah.
And it was really tough because this was the first time that it was like my name was stamped at the very top. Usually my name's like a couple names down.
Yep.
So it's not as bad.
That's the hardest part.
That's
man.
the hardest part, bro.
Because I think we spent so much time in college, like having our name like it was maybe said or like put at the bottom of the list or somewhere like that. It was never put right on the top. I think
this is your product,
right? I think you also hit on something too. That's you said like you had these expectations of how it was going to go, man. Like I think like if you want to like talk about like mental health, especially in teaching, like being able to like manage your expectations for what you want.
It's a big one, dude.
It's a big thing, man. Well, and I think it's so hard because you have, I think everyone, especially like coming out of college, like everyone has these high expectations for what they want.
Because you wouldn't go through like that entire program if you didn't think that you were going to do great.
Like you expecting to come out of here and be like, I'm gonna be the best band director ever. Like I'm gonna show
which
up.
is the mindset you should have.
Right.
Let's not take away from that. Like you should think, oh man, my hair's gonna whatever. You should think like my product that I put out is gonna be A1.
Right.
I'm not gonna put out a bad product. I'm gonna do everything I gotta do to make sure that is great.
Right.
Which is, like I said, that's a good statement.
Yeah.
Of mentality to have, right? But then you run into the issues that we ran into, where you try to keep that standard, and then that standard doesn't get met, and then what do you do then? Because you weren't prepared to deal with that.
Oh, I mean, no, I don't think anyone prepares you. Like, let me tell you this. I don't think anything prepares you for that first year of missed expectations. Like, I don't know of anything that could be like, hey, just so you know, everything you're working towards might not work out that first year.
Like, shoot, not even first year, just period.
Right. Like, it might not work out exactly the way you're planning it right now.
Yeah.
So, hopefully...
Let's go. Fingers crossed that it works out.
And I mean, like, the thing is, like, I had a professor... I won't even mention his name.
I felt like I needed to shout out Dr. Cavett. Felt right, but we'll keep the other names.
Yeah. But he, and my UNT people know what I'm talking about. He, whenever we had this class and you had this project you had to do, and if you didn't get the project right, this is a little paper thing, he would hand you back your project stapled with the Walmart application. Yeah. Talk about a reality check.
Oh my God.
You know, like, and to be
for real.
Yeah. Now, luckily, I got an A+ on it, as I do.
That wasn't me though.
It wasn't me. But like, you know, that I don't think it needs to be on that level.
Yeah.
But I think there needs to be a certain amount of, like, just so you know, like, you don't know everything.
Yeah.
And like I'm not saying you need a Walmart application or you need to think about doing something else, but you need to think about the fact that you are not the perfect band director leaving college.
Yeah.
Or the perfect, anything. Like,
you still got a lot to learn.
Yeah. And that's a good thing, you know.
I think, dude, this job would be so less fulfilling if you knew the equation and
could you imagine?
It'd be gross, man.
Like you're just like, I mean, even like, the top groups, like those people, they're not thinking, I got this down. I don't think this can get any better. Like, no, they're constantly thinking about like, no, this can get better.
Still didn't work out. Still didn't work out. Still this, blah, blah, blah. There's still that one little thing over there.
Right.
That I've been saying from the beginning of the season was going to work out. And watch, it didn't work out. I know we got first place, but...
And so to me, that's that human factor.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I didn't acknowledge it my first year of teaching for a while because I was never like taught to acknowledge the human factor.
I mean, it's hard to be taught that. I don't think you can be taught that. I don't
Really?
think there's well, I don't think there's like a book or you have a professor telling you like, hey, sometimes the kids aren't going to show up.
Right.
Like, sure, probably a professor said that to you at one point in time.
Right.
That doesn't mean anything to you until you've experienced it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, the kid didn't. My soloist just didn't even play.
Right. Or like you got that like great, you know, trumpet soloist completely fracks something. You're just like, dude, like I worked so much on what you did there, but
Yeah.
you messed it up.
You fracked the note.
It's like, but at the same time, I mean, what are you gonna do? Like,
Yeah, you can't.
it's it's the human factor. Like,
You can't yell at the kid because he fracked it out. Like, he
Right.
knows he messed up. Like, you just be like, bro. And he's probably going to be like, bro, I know. I'm
Right.
sorry. Like, and that's the human factor, and it sucks. And
you know, it's funny that thing of like, I think, you know, people talk about how like mistakes like are supposed to teach you something. I feel like we kind of like forget that whenever we start teaching that
oh, dude.
like
yeah.
kids are gonna make mistakes and that's gonna teach them something. That's part of it.
Yeah.
Like it's part of it. The fact that like, I mean, to me, if you spend your 12 years of education or 13 years of education, like grade school education, like with no mistakes, getting straight hundreds on everything, did you really learn anything? Like, did you really like, or when you hit the real world and
Are you
someone
going to be ready for it? Yeah.
like someone tells you like no, like, are you gonna be ready for that? No, like that's a part of it. Is being able to, you know, teach kids to manage those expectations.
Yeah, dude. And humility is such an important thing.
Yeah.
It's such an important trait that I think a lot of people overlook. And like you said, if you're just been the golden child your entire life, you're not gonna have a reason to learn that humility.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was fortunate enough to learn it from, you know, athletics, martial arts. You know, you learn a lot about yourself when there's a girl like half your size on your back choking you out.
Yep.
And you can't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, oh, this is a reality and this sucks. Okay. All right.
Yep.
I'll think about this from now on. Don't just assume that just because you're bigger than the person that you're going to body them up. Like, if they know more than you, they know more than you.
Right.
And it's going to affect the outcome. But yeah, so let me circle back to that rough education week for me.
Yeah.
So that happens on like a Saturday. And then on Tuesday or whatever, I had to fly out to Ohio for World Championships for indoor, the independent group that I teach.
Ooh.
Shout out Violet Crown.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're going up there. This is year 3? 2? 3? 3. Year 3 for us out there. And, you know, like, we were really hopeful to just make it into finals. We're like, if that's our goal.
Yeah.
We don't know what that's going to look like or how, if we get there, but just, I think a general consensus across the educational staff was like, finals is the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Dope. And long or the short of it, we kill prelims, we kill at semis, boom, puts us into finals. We're up there in finals too, top 5. We're like, yo, word? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, we're moving.
We're like, we did it. Like, we met that goal. Like, the goal was to make finals. The super goal, like, if all things work out, let's get a medal.
Right.
But finals, we're straight. We're straight with that. And then, like I said, we just killed it in prelims and semis, and we're going into finals. We're like, yeah. And again, the long or the short of it is, And if you know the game, you know what happened. And we end up earning second place.
Mm-hmm.
We end up placing 11th or 13th. I can't remember off the top of my head. But due to a 10-point penalty, that dropped us all the way down. I think it was 13th. Yeah, 13th place. And, that was,
Devastating.
Still to this day, one of the worst feelings ever is knowing that these kids had put in all that damn work.
Right.
And they had earned that second place. They had earned that silver medal. And then we got a 10-point penalty for something that didn't have to do with their performance. And, man, going down there and obviously, like, the kids are just as devastated, and they're all crying and, trying to be that father figure where you're standing strong for them, and you're
still trying to be supportive.
Be supportive, and I'm just as devastated.
Right.
So I'm crying, they're crying. They've never seen me cry. They never see me have emotion.
Like, whoa, hold on.
So they're taken back on that, and then it's just this super rough situation, and we still got a whole other day out here in Ohio, and then before we bus back home. So just super mixed emotions. You can't even enjoy the progress that we had throughout the season, and the joys of doing well in prelims and doing well in semis, because it just gets the rug pulled out from under you with that finals score. But then again, I didn't even get that many days to be sad about it, because boom, we end up coming back. I think I get back on Sunday. Then Monday, I have like a 2-hour rehearsal with my band, because it was some holiday. I don't remember what holiday's in April.
Good Friday?
Nah, it was a Monday holiday. It might have just been a teacher work day.
Okay.
But then Tuesday was UIO with my concert band, and I'm the first band to go.
What a time.
What a time, bro.
It's a great time, isn't it?
Let it also be known that VC was first to go in prelims, first indoor group on the first day to be seen. So that was also super up, but they ended up doing really well. Shout out. But the outcome was not the case for my concert band.
Yeah.
And God, man, you stack those three things on top of each other, like each one of those things. So like, I got 3s on stage, 2s in sight reading. So all those things as an educator are just super devastating. Singularly.
Right.
Then you've got the trio
all in 1 week.
All in 1 week. All within the span of 10 days. Right. And this is education was a thing that I was like, I'm not good at a lot of things, but I think I got this teaching thing down. And then on 3 levels, I get told that, nah, cuz you don't got this thing down.
That's the thing. You should once you show up at that first day of teaching, you're like, man, I should be able to kill this right now.
Yeah.
I should be great at this. But then when things don't happen your way, it's like, am I,
I'm sure at some point you had similar thoughts of did I waste my time going to school?
Entire bus ride back and the next month after that was just me being like, did I pick the right thing when I signed up for be a music ed major? Did I pick the right thing?
Did I pick the right profession? Did I put all the time and effort into getting really good at my instrument and making sure that I do all these things and check all the boxes for the education certification? Then I pay all that money to get those exams taken care of. after all the money I paid for the damn college.
Right.
And then for the first representation of all that work put in,
To be like,
you come up super short. It's like, damn. Was it worth it? That's an ugly ass feeling, dude.
yeah, I mean, like, I think we spent that entire time after getting those results, just kind of in that feeling of, did any of the work I did mattered? And that creates a, like, kind of a loop of, like, depression and, like, trying to, like, figure out other plans, or, like, trying to, plan for the future. Like, let me see if I can make this better next year, or, because I mean, that's just like international. We're gonna keep trying it. Like, I wasn't prepared to quit after my first year. I definitely had that thought.
Yeah.
There was definitely like a time, like, I remember, what day did you have UIL? You said Monday, right?
It was a Tuesday.
Tuesday? Yeah. I think mine was on a Tuesday too. And I think I spent that Wednesday I was with Will's band doing stuff. And then the next 2 days I kind of spent, like, just thinking, like, while I was at school, I was like, you know what, I'm done with this. Like, definitely spent about 2 days just being like, I don't want to be band director anymore. Yeah, no, I was defeated for about 2 days.
Yeah.
And, the rest of the time I was kind of spent just being sad about those results. But I think we're not really taught to gauge our expectations. I think that kind of, like, contributes a lot to that.
Yeah.
To that mental health decline. I think a lot of teachers experience this after. Granted, we're only 2 years into it, but I think a lot of teachers experience this after, like, 5 years. They'll get to certain points. It's kind of like, whenever you age, you get to certain points in your life, and you're like, all right, I should be at this. I mean, like, you're older than me. You're 27. Like,
Yeah.
I have expectations for when I turn 27.
Yeah.
If I don't reach those, then we'll find out when we get there.
Yeah.
But I think whenever, like, when we're teaching, we spend the first year kind of bad. And then, that next, what I've heard is that a lot of people, when they get to that 5th year, they kind of go like, okay, I should be better at this by now. That's kind of the next. I know for me, like, after that first year, I spent a lot of time thinking, okay, how long is it going to take me to get to the point where at least I have my, not necessarily my system, like, down, but I have my my mindset of teaching down.
Yeah.
Because, I think, question for you.
What's up?
Do you think the growth mindset we try to put, we try to instill into our students, do you think we're set up for that? Having, like, as an educator, do you think we're set up for a growth mindset, or are we set up for, do you think you were told ones and getting first place at all those contests? Like, do you think you were told that's
the mark
right.
of a successful educator?
Right. And if you didn't hit those things, you failed. Like, do you?
I don't think it was explicitly said, but I mean, it's implied, bro.
Right.
And I think a lot of the problem is that the people that go into the education field, like 90% of them, you are the most passionate person of what it is you're doing, right? Like, so you're really passionate about saxophone and education. I'm gonna go be a teacher. I'm really passionate about drums and teaching people. I'm gonna go be a teacher. And like you were saying, because we had those expectations all through middle school and high school of ourselves, and then we, was like, I'm gonna be drum captain. Boom, got it. I'm gonna be drum major. Boom, got it. Cool. So you're used to having this self-reliance projecting you into what it is that you're doing.
Right.
So you're used to setting up you get it through like auditions and other things. You get used to either succeeding or failing through yourself.
Right.
And then we're surrounded by all the other people that are the exact same way.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, of course. Why would you not get ones? Like, you would get ones. Like, if you were in a band, like,
Right.
you would perform to where you get a 1. Or else you wouldn't be a music major like that.
Right. I mean, like, I think, something I felt like at UNT was, like, there's people that were either good at their instrument or they sucked at it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a whole, like, spectrum of, like, growth and, like, things like that. But it's either you get the ones or you don't.
Yeah.
Like, that was definitely, like, it's not, and this is something we can kind of discuss a little bit more, is, like, I think a lot of young educators, we grew up in these programs that were based on, not necessarily based on trophies,
Yeah.
but based on my least favorite word now in education, which is excellence. And, like, we kind of were basted like literally like put like a like a
Yeah.
what's that called? What's like you paint
A basting brush.
a basting brush. Yeah, I was like, what is that?
The thing you yelled at me for not having
Yes, I did.
a couple weeks ago.
Because you should have a basting brush.
I bought one because you yelled at me.
You're welcome.
I haven't used it since, but I have it now.
Hey, it's coming up, man. It's coming up.
Yeah, it's something.
You'll
We'll
find
see.
But I think we're based in this idea of, I meant based, but it sounded cool. We're putting this idea
Whatever.
of excellence, and, like, if you don't reach that level of excellence, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Like, there isn't growth. There is only excellence. That's a,
Damn, that's a tough one to chew on.
like, I think we spent so much time in the idea of, like, we need to be excellent, not we need to get better. Like, I don't even think it was like a better in like a, in the sense of, we're trying to, like, push for something higher. Like, no, it's just, if we didn't reach that top level, we didn't
Yeah.
achieve what we wanted to.
And I don't think that was. We learned that, like, so we'll just say that we learned that at university.
Yeah.
I don't think university is rooted, like, that idea is rooted in hostility, for lack of a better word.
Oh, no. I mean,
It's just, again, like I was saying, like, the best people go to the school to do the thing.
Right.
So if you're surrounded by the best people, you're just forced to get better, which is a good thing.
right.
But then you don't acknowledge the individual growth.
Right.
You don't acknowledge the day by day growth. Like, for us, when we're working on a solo piece, it's just like, you don't think about your day to day practice as in, at least I didn't think about my day to day practice as in, dope. I went in there to learn these 8 bars, and I learned these 8 bars. That was I did what I was supposed to.
Yeah, a little bit better today.
Yeah. It was like, all right, I'm a little bit closer to finishing this piece.
Right.
It wasn't like you're just thinking like,
Yeah.
I need to finish. My professor told me to finish this piece in 2 weeks. So you're not molded at the university level to think, all right, if I break it down by these days and these days, I'm going to get better each day,
Right.
and then I'll get to that goal in 2 weeks. It's just like, I just got to get done by the 2 weeks, and it's got to not suck.
Right.
I'm going to practice in these 2 weeks. I have a practice rehearsal schedule, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I'm not thinking about, like, man, that 8-bar phrase was kicking my ass yesterday. got to stay. Super dope.
Right.
And sometimes there is a lot of players that do that, but I don't think, again, just like this whole topic of mental health and burning out, it's not talked about enough.
Right.
It's not reminded enough, and there isn't enough people out there telling you that that's okay.
Yeah. To saying it's okay isn't like, it's not a bad thing. Like it's okay to have like I said, it's okay to have a growth mindset.
Yeah.
It's okay to be like, you know what, I'm gonna get a little bit better at this. The expectation is that you have these goals at the end, but I think the best way to keep your mental health up is to like keep that idea of I'm getting better in mind, rather than I did that this year. Like I this year didn't go perfectly, but I looked at every moment where things went well. I was like, you know what, that was better than last year. Like I taught clarinet embouchure better than last year. I taught flute, like I figured out how to teach flute this year. I'm a good flute player. Couldn't teach flute.
Yeah.
Until this year, like I finally figured that out. I think it's a slow thing that people we're not really, like you said, we're not taught, and we're not and we don't talk about how to have that how to manage expectations, how to have that growth mindset, and how to look at your mental health and kind of like stare at it for a second and be like, okay, how are you doing mentally?
Yeah.
Like do some evaluation of yourself. That would have been great, like in college, if like you every semester, like like as a part of like your jury.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if they like gave you like a survey after being like, mentally, how do you feel right now?
Ugh.
Could you imagine those answers?
Those surveys would be so depressing.
Just be like, I feel like ending it. Like I feel like getting out of here. Like, can I leave like now?
I'm a trash player, and I'm a trash human being, and I don't deserve to be where I'm at. Here you go.
That A didn't make any sense. Like,
what were you listening to? Because I think I sounded awful.
right.
So I am just gonna assume that you guys are just feeling bad for me.
I literally, so funny story. When I was auditioning for colleges, back in high school, I went to go audition at Northwestern University, for Dr. Timothy McAllister.
Shout out Northwestern, Chicago.
Saxophone, like, oh my gosh, Timothy McAllister, he's amazing. Teaching a professor of saxophone at the University of Michigan now. But he, I went up there to audition for him and played the Glasgow saxophone concerto. Super hard, super cool.
Yeah.
Love it. Played it like from one of my saxophone heroes. He gave me like a little lesson on it, and then I had to get a flight back from Chicago all the way back to Dallas, because that same it wasn't that same day, I guess it was that next day, I had solo and ensemble. Literally, I was running to get to like my room because my time had already passed. I was like, I gotta get there, and Mike I'm just sitting there waiting for me. I rush in there, kind of throw my saxophone together, like hope it works, see if it's good. I run down the piece, and I'm just thinking to myself like, that was okay. Yeah, like it was bad. Like I just played this for my hero, and it was like better than. I was like, I hope she like at least gives me like a 2 or something like that. Yeah. And then the judge says, that was one of the best performances I've ever heard. Like one of the best performances at a solo and ensemble like I've ever heard. I was like, yo, what? Like my expectations were not at all in the idea of, maybe I did get a little bit better at that just now, or maybe maybe it was a little bit like, maybe it was good.
That the product you took to the homie at Northwestern was really good, but because he operates at that higher level,
right? That
he's obviously like gonna break it down, right? But that doesn't take away from it being a really good product,
right? Like, and I think that's the big thing is that we're taught for the longest time of like, you know, I didn't learn that piece all the way through.
Yeah.
I mean, that one I did, but like for the sake of that idea of like I learned those 8 bars today, like we're not focused on like what we're doing right now. We're focused on, you know, did I learn the whole piece yet? We're not focused on like how did UIL go today, or like how did this thing go, like right now, rather than like, you know, your expectations are I should have got all ones. Like, no, you got a little better. This is your first year of teaching.
Got a little better, dog.
Like, or I mean, like for you, especially for your first year teaching, you did it one time. Like it hasn't even, like, what do you mean? What did you expect? Like, did you think it was gonna be like, I get ones every time?
I'm just perfect at everything and I know all the things.
Like, no, you don't know everything, and then you get better. That's what growth is. Like,
it's just, and you know, I'm conflicted when we talk about this because, you know, my general philosophy is like, if you sucked, get better. So it's just that very aggressive, just like, no, that wasn't good enough. Right. Try harder. Sorry, that's probably more along the lines of what my general life philosophy is like. That wasn't good enough. Try harder. Mm. But then also on like the flip side of that same philosophy, it's like, you were better than you were yesterday.
Yeah.
But that doesn't, for whatever reason, even on your personal philosophies, at least in my case, didn't transfer to not even my teaching philosophy, just like the expectations I had for my teaching philosophy.
Right.
Because it was always, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's always just like you get off the podium and just like, damn, that one kid still didn't.
Yeah.
Like, I pointed at him on 4. Just I even told him, bro, don't just look at me. I'll throw it to you, dog. And he missed it.
It's on beat 2. You've read it. We've clapped it. I need you to put it on beat 2.
Just put it on beat 2, dog. I don't understand what you don't get. Just 1, 2.
Right.
You know what I mean? And instead of being like, damn, the flutes were finally in tune. The trumpet solo didn't frack a single note.
Right.
But that damn baritone player can't play on 2. It's like, that's the one that you're going to harp on, which at a level, I don't think it's a bad thing because you don't want to get complacent.
Right.
In the teaching, you don't want to only think about the good things because then again, you don't grow.
Yeah.
It's this weird ebb and flow, this yin and yang of growth is from both acknowledging the good things and appreciating them, as well as forcing yourself to look at the bad things,
right,
acknowledging them, and figuring out how to make them better. Mm-hmm. And again, nope. Who's telling you that? But even then, how are they going to tell you that? Like, think about that sentence I just said.
Right.
That don't make a damn lick of sense if you haven't gone through it.
Yeah, like if you actually haven't, like, you know, if you haven't had to manage your expectations, how are you going to be taught to, like...
Yeah.
Like, is someone just going to be like, hey, like, could you imagine, like, a class where, like, they, like, intentionally fail you and be like, hey, this is our first year teaching, might go. You might fail, even though you tried so hard or you, like, really pushed for it. I'm just a human, and I didn't want to today.
Yeah.
Or you didn't do it exactly right, so not gonna happen today.
Just not gonna happen today. Sorry, dog.
Like, you should be able to. For some reason, I think you should be able to come out of college like that. You should be able to come out of college thinking, you know what? My first year isn't going to be great. Everyone kind of says that, you know, like, especially when you're student teaching, everyone's like, oh yeah, your first year is not great, but it will get better after that. But everyone, for some reason, even though we're told that a million times,
it doesn't mean anything, and nobody believes them.
Right.
Because again, we've been the exception.
Right.
In our entire lives up until now.
Not my first year.
Yeah. It's just like, well, yeah, I also wasn't supposed to go to college, and here I am. So,
right.
I just work hard and things work out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep that same work ethic when I go teach my first year. So the hell out of here with
Right.
it's gonna be a bad first year. Like, nah, cause like I'm gonna do fine.
We're just gonna work my way through.
I'm just gonna work my way through it. Like I've worked my way through it this entire time. So por qué no?
Right.
Would it be like? And then, surprise, it sucks. But then also I think like on the flip side of it, like we're saying, nobody's talking about it. But when they do, they don't get into the nuance of it.
Yeah.
Right. So like, I don't know if you hit up any of your mentors, but I remember the directors around us were just like, yeah, man, like my first year was super rough. My lead violin forgot his bow. And just, like everybody has that first year, like not everybody, but a lot of people have that first year horror story.
Yeah.
But they just kind of tell you the story. They don't tell you like, you're going to feel like garbage.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to think, you're going to hate everything that you've ever done. You're going to think that you are incompetent and you're incapable of doing your job.
Well, here's the thing. There was someone, we're going to have him on here one of these days, Brent Caldwell.
Shout out.
He, like, literally told me, first time I met him, like, hey, you're going to cry.
Damn.
First day I met him. I've never met this man before in my life. He just, like, we were just talking a little bit about, being a first year band director. He's like, you're going to cry. And when he said that, I was like, no, I'm not, what?
Come on, man, not me.
It's band. Like, I'm not gonna get upset about band. It's band.
Just band.
It's a thing I've been doing for like the last 10 years. It doesn't get worse. Like, no.
It's probably gonna get worse.
Like you're gonna have a moment where you don't like it, or you don't like yourself, or like there's gonna be that moment.
Yeah.
And like that reality check, that ability to like say like, hey, you're gonna be upset. I think it's better than telling someone like, first year's gonna suck. Like, no, like tell them the truth. Like, you know what? You're gonna be upset with yourself. You're gonna be in a moment of like, you're gonna feel regret. You're gonna feel shame. And that's something that I felt was like, I've never gotten a 2.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Like I said, dude, I've never placed out a top 5 for indoor drumline.
Right. It's like that. Like, it just.
I was trying to
Like,
run
just
back.
not a part of our vocabulary was doing poorly. So then when you get to somewhere, it's like, I'm sure even at those programs though, like, and this is someone I need to talk to my first band director, Tom Forg. He actually taught in Temple for a little bit.
Shout out.
Awesome band director. But I need to talk to him and be like, hey, your first couple of years of teaching, did you have a moment of like regret or like a moment of like shame? Like, what was that like for you? Because I think the older we get, and I know I experienced this like tremendously from year 1 to year 2, is that my ability to, like you said, acknowledge the nuance of, you want to like focus on like what you want to focus on the positives, and like what got better, what's doing good, but you also need to focus on the negatives.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, y'all still can't enter on beat 2. Like, I think being able to acknowledge that nuance is a big part of it, and that kind of like enhances your mental ability to like focus on like multiple things, especially being a band director. Like every day you're doing so much, like you can't just be like, all right, this one class or this one thing is going poorly. Like, no, there's so much going on, man.
Yeah.
Like it's okay. Like it's okay that like.
Well, yeah, and I mean it's just like that. I don't know if it's like this philosophy thing, or what have you, but I'm sure you've seen something to the accord of, teacher goes up to the board and does the 9 the number 9 times tables. They go 9 times 1 all the way to 9 times 9. And they get to like, 9 times 1 through 9 times 8, get them all correct.
Yeah.
9 times 9, instead of it being 81, they put 80. And all the kids call them out.
Nope, that's wrong.
For having to call the teacher out for having, that one
Right.
problem being wrong. But nobody acknowledges the 8 that were correct. Again, that human nature aspect thing of things and again, it's the yin and yang of it.
Yeah.
Acknowledge that you sucked on that last one.
Right.
But also acknowledge that you killed the first 8.
Yeah.
And
being able to go back and forth between those two.
Yeah.
Is like that's so hard to be able to do. But I think that little dance you do of going back and forth is like can be to me that can be kind of exciting though. Is to be able to like, you know what? Hey, we got better at this. This sucked.
Yeah.
Got better at this. Like that can be if you want to have a job that's going to be fun and like really based on you getting better, like teaching's a great job for that. It came along with you. For those of you that were watching, Marcus picked up his coffee cup. He has coaster on it, and it
just clean your coasters, kids.
Came right with him. It was funny. But
I didn't drink my coffee.
But that dance we do of going back from, this is bad, this is good, this is bad, this is good. That can be, to me, that's a little bit more fun than just like, sitting behind a computer,
Yeah.
crunching numbers or something like that.
No, for sure. I mean, especially since we were forced to not be with education,
right?
At least to the level of which we're used to.
Yeah.
Due to the quarantine and and all that.
Yeah. That's just me celebrating the Rona.
Celebrate the Rona.
Scary.
You gotta embrace her, for she will get you.
La Rona.
La Llorona. I can't imagine myself doing many other things than teaching. Like I know a joke about like opening up a kitchen or getting into realty.
Starting a podcast.
Hey, surprise, did it. Check that off the
Funny how that works.
But I can't imagine myself doing anything else other than this. And someone just coming?
I don't think so.
All right. Yeah, it's fine. If we die, we die.
Okay.
What was I saying?
Back to it. I got that.
I just forgot what I was saying.
You were talking about you love teaching. If you're trying to with the quarantine stuff.
This isn't. It's a hard truth, bro. Teaching ain't for everybody.
Nope.
It really isn't.
Nope.
And as I think I've said this before, a lot of people in our field will get the education degree because it ends up being easier than the performance degree, and then they're just trying to teach until that performance gig comes up. But if that's what you're doing, dog, it's not going to work out on either ends, because either A, you're going to get super into teaching and then you're going to give up on the performance aspect of things, or you're going to get really into the performance aspect of things, and then the teaching side of things is going to crash and burn. And either way, you're going to be depressed by the opposite thing not working out to some extent. Like,
to me, like, teaching is like a different instrument.
Yeah.
Like, it's a whole... That's a fun way to put it. Teaching is like a, like I said, it's a completely different instrument. There's a whole lot of skills that go with it. A whole lot of different, like, repertoire that goes with it. And by repertoire, I mean, like, lessons that, like, you have to be able to teach. And, like, all those things, you you should know as a teacher. Um, and if you aren't willing to focus on it and, do that dance of, getting better, this is bad, getting better, this is bad. If you're not willing to do that dance, then it might not work out exactly the way you expect it to. And I don't like telling people to quit things and be like, hey, just don't do this. But I also want people to be realistic with themselves for the sake of the students.
Yeah.
Because, the worst thing you can do is spend a year just being like, I don't know. This might not work. I don't really want to do this. That would be so detrimental to, like...
Yeah, you're screwing an entire year of a child's education.
Yeah, like, go...
Because you're uncertain of yourself.
Right. And, like, that uncertainty, like, we experience the uncertainty because we want to get better at it. If you're experiencing the uncertainty because you don't want to get better at it, don't do that.
And this isn't to say, like, just like we said, we both had legitimate thoughts of quitting.
Right.
After doing the first year. And I think that's legitimate. That's a legitimate reason for them to quit. You know what I mean? Like, it was really hard to, like, dust myself off and, like, all right, let's go round 2.
Right, because there's no thought of, like, can I come back from this?
Yeah.
Like, that was a thought I had, like, a lot. I'm sure you had that a lot, too. Like, it was like, can I really come back from what I just did? I don't know. We found out second year, yeah, you can. But
in the moment, it feels like you might not be able to.
Right.
And, I think we had the wherewithal and the passion to kind of trudge through that feeling.
Yeah.
Not everybody does.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Yeah.
Because, well, I think a big part of it is what I was saying of just people don't talk enough about it. And people don't have the honest conversation about it enough. You got to be honest with yourself, and you got to be honest with your feelings towards the situation before you can address the situation.
Right.
I believe.
Right. And I think we tend to go, with that honesty, we tend to go immediately to the extreme.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like we said, both of us had, feelings of, like, I want to quit. Most people will just take that feeling and go and run with it. They'll go like, all right, I want to quit.
Guess it wasn't for me, Doug.
Done with it. But I feel like, having those conversations, which leads into another, like, idea, well, not really an idea, another topic is make sure you're talking to people about this stuff.
Yeah.
My buddy Ben Elwell, teaching out in Lubbock, Texas, Coronado High School.
Shout out, Ben.
Killing it. Me and him, we have, like, these, like, weekly, like, phone conversations just to, kind of talk about, like, what we're doing with band, how's band going, how's life going.
Yeah.
Having those people in your life to sort of, not necessarily vent to, because I think venting is good.
Yeah.
We've done our fair share of venting to each other. But once you've vented, once you've, like, let all the pressure out, like, all right, let's start, like, looking at what we did and how can we make it better? How do you feel about it? Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, that's
being honest with yourself.
Yeah. That's a talk you need to have with someone a lot more often. Is, how are you doing? Because, the tendency, especially in the band world, is to sort of push down your feelings and just go, all right, it's Bandtober. We got to keep going.
Just get through it.
Like, it's marching season. Like, we're going to the next contest.
You can take a break during Thanksgiving.
Right.
Yeah. But right now,
it's
we got some contests.
Yeah.
Let's get after it.
We got to get moving. That's the tendency, is to be like, we're not gonna evaluate or I mean, even if it's like, I wouldn't say do this once a year, but like to me, like, you know, once in 6 weeks. I mean, luckily, Temple has a thing of doing the first day of every 6 weeks. We have that break.
Yeah.
What's up?
Teacher work day.
Yeah, teacher work day.
What have you?
It's a teacher work day, but it's also, I know for me, I use it as a time to kind of reevaluate and be like, hey, how did the last 6 weeks go? How can we be better?
Where are we at right now?
Right.
Check in with yourself. It's really important to check in with yourself. It really is.
Yeah, because I mean, otherwise you can push all those feelings down and, you know, just keep going, keep going, and push, and then you wind up burnt out and not feeling good because you didn't want to acknowledge your feelings.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, just like your conversations with Ben, people probably still to this day don't really understand, but why every weekends for indoor I would drive 2.5 hours to San Antonio, to go continue teaching. And on the surface level, like, bro, you teach 70 to 80 hours Monday through Friday.
We thought you were crazy.
Yeah. And then Friday, you get done with the rehearsal, you go home, grab a bag, and then immediately drive to San Antonio to go continue to teach.
Right.
But it allowed me to stop by my homie's place in Kyle. I would stop by his place every single Friday. Just because, you know, the way the time worked out, by the time I got to San Antonio, they would have been done with rehearsal already.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's no point in me rushing down there. So I got to stop there.
Yeah.
You know, we usually get dinner, catch up with the homies. Like, hey, what's your week been like for you? Where are you at? Check in. Let's just kind of kick it like we did in college for a little bit, talk a little mess, forget what we're doing with life for a second. Yeah. And then, you know, I roll into San Antonio the next morning, and then I get to do the same thing with my boys on the percussion side of things, where we have this relationship that was formed in teaching together, right? Like the groups, the dudes I teach with at Violet Crown are the same dudes I taught with like 80% of the indoor groups that we taught in San Antonio High School. And so that never felt like work. It was just like me and the homies are kicking it, and we're also teaching some indoor drums.
Right.
Dope. And, you know, then I got to drive back from San Antonio, the 2.5 hours, and the drive is rough, but I got to kind of sit with myself and think, like, all right, bro, your head's clear.
Yeah.
You know, you got to go do something that you know you're good at, that you know is succeeding. It's going well. All right, let's think about what this week's going to look like. Let's try and do that.
Yeah.
Do it a little bit better. And, you know, I think that's, had I not had that, I think had you not had your boy Ben, I can't say that I would have made it to year 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, that's something that a lot of people tend to, you know, forget about, is that you're not alone. Like, it's not like, I think we tend to have, you know, that kind of going back to like the idea of like that growth mindset kind of thing. We tend to have this idea of, you know, I put my name on it, like top of the key, it's just me. Like, no, it's not just you. There's so many people. Like, there's other first year teachers. There's your mentor teachers. There's other people like in your area that are teaching. Just go to one of the other teachers. I mean, one of my favorite experiences was going to a completely not random teacher, but I just wanted to talk to him about, you know, a problem I was having in a classroom, and I think that was such a freeing experience to be like, hey, I'm experiencing this. What do you think about it? Oh yeah, this is how I handle it.
What would you do in this instance?
Yeah. Right, like having that ability to go to someone, and not just vent, because I think it's easy to vent. It's easy to just like complain and just be sad about stuff.
It's really easy to bitch.
Right, Like it's so easy to do that.
But nobody, there's a difference between doing that. I think that like what you're saying, it's important to do that
Right.
every now and then. Just get it out, bro.
You got to
Just,
release
like,
the pressure every
just
once in a while. Right.
this sucks. That sucks. You suck. Ugh.
It
All right.
sucks. We all suck. Everybody sucks. Whatever.
Let's talk about the actual problem now.
Right.
Like, and luckily that's just kind of the person that I have been, not my entire life, but for a vast majority of my life, where I'm just, all right, this is what we're doing now. All right, let's get after it. But that was learned over many years. That was learned over many failures. Like I was saying, like I got that humility in my life of not making X ensemble, not making this group, coming up short on that jury, just on the musical side of things, but then also on the life side of things, you know? Like I know that's gonna come up on future topics, future shows of all the nonsense that has happened throughout even just my college career. But it's not healthy to just complain.
Yeah.
Do you need to do it every now and then? Absolutely. Just let it out. It's good for you.
Yeah.
It's not good to have that stuff pent up inside of you.
Right.
But you do need to.
It's healthier to deal with the real stuff.
Yeah. You then need to figure out what the hell the problem is, why he sucks, they suck, and why you suck.
Right. So loud.
So aggressive, I know. You can't just say that. You got to figure out why that is. Is it something that you're doing wrong? What is the issue? Like, why are they all not making this thing happen? Okay. Analyze it. Figure out why it is. Fix it. If you ain't smart enough to do it, ask somebody else that's better than you. Right. That's another part of the humility. Yeah. Is acknowledging that you probably don't know everything.
Talk to those people, man.
Talk to someone that's better than you. I don't know anything about saxophone.
Talk to me.
I'm gonna talk to you about that. You know, I got the people around me, you know, just like, you know, a lot of other teachers. And, you know, this is a sad truth. Some young cats don't have that supportive head director.
Yeah.
And that's really unfortunate. You know, I feel really bad for those guys, and it's not fair to them because the selfishness of the head director is impeding the growth of that assistant director.
Yeah.
But then it is your duty as that young director. If homeboy ahead of you isn't down to help you out, find somebody that is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like you have to reach beyond, like if you need to, you know, being able to reach beyond like your immediate like contacts.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the coolest thing I've ever heard was Richard Saucedo, the guy who runs. I don't think he runs Music for All. He's, you know,
he's up there.
One of the best music educators out there.
Yeah. Someone
just emailed him, and he responded to the email.
Really?
Yeah. You can do that. Like, well, that blew my mind.
Well, you were just talking about that the other day. You emailed.
Binging with Babish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just reach out.
Shot him a quick little DM, and he actually responded.
Like, just reach out. Like,
yeah.
You can, like, it's okay to reach out and just like find help. Like, I think that's a big part of it, is being able to find that help to make you better. That's totally okay. Like that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And you're gonna need that, definitely.
Yeah. And again, this is, I think, a big issue that a lot of us have, because up until now we have been successful on our own.
Right.
So a lot of people don't know how to ask for that help.
Right.
They don't know how to just go up to someone like, bro, I ain't got this one.
Right.
Help your boy out.
Like, I mean, they tell us, you know, being able to say, I don't know is okay.
Yeah.
But I don't think, they think they mean it in the more like informational sense. Or maybe, you know, they were trying to say something bigger than that. They were trying to say, like, being able to say, like, I don't know, or because I think that really acknowledges your vulnerability.
Yeah.
Um,
People don't want to be vulnerable.
yeah, we don't. Like being vulnerable is so
It's terrifying.
man, that hurts. Like being like told you like you're wrong.
Yeah.
Like I know, like for me, like I'm a trivia Jeopardy nerd. Like if I get that wrong answer, like I don't like that.
Defeated. Yeah.
Right, but I think that's a big part of the teaching experience is being wrong.
Yeah.
And being helped out with like a different game, but like who wants to be a millionaire? But like getting a phone a friend, like it's not bad.
That's okay.
Like I feel like if we treated this would be a cool thing. If you treated band directing like a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game, where like you get like this would be cool. Like you get like a little slip of paper, and you put like these 10 little tags at the end of it. They're like you get 10 phone a friends for this semester.
Oh, that would actually, yeah.
Could you like
It'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
be like, hey, you get 10 phone a friends. Use them. You have
Use
to
them. You have to use them.
You have to use them. You can't not use them. You have to use them. Like that would be. Could you imagine being able to be like, I'm gonna go ahead and just
reach out to anybody at that point,
right?
man.
Like, that would be like you put names on those. Oh, could you imagine?
That'd be
being,
wild.
Like, and then like that to me, that's how you find like your true friends, your true mentors.
Yeah.
Is being able to just
Yeah,
be like,
yeah.
hey, having this problem. I told myself I was going to reach out rather than just like sitting at home, like being sad about it, like we did after,
Yeah.
after our first year UIL stuff. Like, no, just go ahead and like, you get 10 phone of friends, you're going to use them. Like, don't not
Yeah.
use them. Use them.
And it's just a realization that we have to come to terms with, that the feeling of not being good enough
Yeah.
at the point of I don't know something does not feel as bad as you getting to the end goal and it not working out,
Right.
because
Ooh.
you thought that feeling at that time, the feeling of like I if I ask somebody about this question, I'm not a good enough teacher.
Right.
But it's going to bite you in the ass
When you don't succeed at the
when you
end.
don't succeed at the end. And you're going to feel worse. I promise. Like,
Right.
look at me. Look at me. Right. You're going to feel worse. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's like...
And again, that's the issue, is that people don't want to... it's people don't want to feel bad. And that's fine.
Like, here's the thing. And this is something I, like, whenever, like, you go to a Team EA, like, honor band concert.
Yeah.
For a lot of those concerts, they have, like, whatever, like, mentor is, like, helping them out. They have them guest conduct a piece.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, like, on that top level, you have to have someone helping you out. You can't do it on your own. Like, you can't just be like, I'm going to be out here and just, like, work on it.
Yeah.
Like, no. No one is that capable. I don't know of anyone that can be like, this is my program and I'm going to do it perfectly. You need to be able to reach out and, I think we have gone through, a couple of things. But the biggest thing is understand that you are not going to be perfect. And, that first year for both of us did not go so great.
Yeah.
Because we didn't think that. Like, I know me, I spent all like, before like even showing up to Travis, like, I was thinking like, man, I'm gonna kill this year. It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna play some really hard music.
Yeah.
It's gonna play like, I got these pieces ready. I was like, ooh, I've got this flute soloist. It's gonna be awesome. I show up, no flutes in my band. What?
Huh?
What?
What you mean?
I didn't. Like,
got
but I
no
was,
flute?
But you telling me I wasn't prepared for. Oh, okay. Like, so just
Yeah.
like set it for like, hey, no, I'm not saying show up with that, like, show up with the mentality of like, this is gonna be horrible, or like,
Oh, absolutely don't do that, because then it is going to be horrible.
right, yeah, like if you show up thinking that, like, don't even teach.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't ever show up to a teaching day being like, this is gonna be bad. No, show up with the idea of this is going to be hopefully better.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Came up with that just now.
I take that. Well done. Well done. So, I mean, I think the moral of the story is man, just you got to check in with yourself,
Yeah.
both professionally, emotionally, mental health, physical health, and bro, like I can talk about that physical health side of things.
I can't.
That's a big part of it. A big part of a lot of anxiety ensued during that spring semester after I stopped working out, because then there was literally nothing in my life that wasn't centered around band. And that's probably part 2 of the mental health conversation of
We'll have to go in that whole thing of like different careers and all that stuff.
of forcing yourself to not think about band,
Right.
because I probably got worse when I wasn't working out, because then I was taking care of myself physically. So then when I wasn't taking care of myself physically, my mental health started to diminish as well. And then so once my mental health started to diminish, then I wasn't able to have that fortitude and gusto to get after it and get in those rehearsals and pay attention to everything that's going on and acknowledge what is going wrong and then figure out the ways that it wasn't working. It was just like, that sucked. This isn't going to go well. Get to the competition. Surprise, surprise. Didn't go well. It's like, and then you get into that self-fulfilling prophecy, and it just...
It eats away at you.
It eats away at you,
Right.
bro. It just eats away at you. So, like you said, we're fortunate enough to have that beginning 6 weeks, and you take advantage of that mentally. I definitely don't. I take advantage of it with rehearsals.
Yeah.
I think I always have. It's really bad. It is what it is. But you got to take care of yourself first before you take care of other people.
Right.
To some extent. Now, obviously, some of the best mentors have their own demons that they're exercising.
Yeah, like no one's perfect.
Nobody's perfect, but you need to be honest with yourself and what you've got going on and what you're going through before you reach out to somebody.
Yeah.
Both on the positive end or negative end. Because you don't want to reach out to your mentor, like somebody that you've been looking up to, and just being like, bro, everything sucks. I don't know what's going on. All right, so what's going on? Like, okay, so what's happening? I don't know, man. Everything's just really, really bad.
You didn't look at it?
Cool. So what is going wrong? Everything. Like, you need to be able to be honest with yourself first before you can go and fix it.
Right.
And I think before you even talk about what it is you're doing in front of you, you got to do with what's inside of you. Deal with that. Handle those emotions. Handle those feelings. And then even before you go talk to somebody about the band issue, talk about those mental issues first, man.
Yeah. Get them out there.
Get them out there. And sometimes the mentor that you talk to about that isn't going to be the one that you talk to about band, and that's okay.
Yeah.
There's different people for different things. You just got to be willing to have that humility to reach out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Word, anything else, Doug? You can
Nah,
think
man.
of? So I definitely think we need to have a mental health part 2.
Part 2.
About the other side of things.
Yeah.
Like I kind of touched on it there at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anything you want to promote?
As always, follow us on all the social medias.
Yeah.
It's Holla at Your Boy Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter is Holla at Your Boy 1. I'm surprised somebody took that Twitter handle like with as I did the spelling so specifically,
yeah, so that no one could take it.
and somebody already had it. So it's Holla at Your Boy 1
Right.
on Twitter, but everything else is Holla at Your Boy.
Yeah.
Make sure you follow the YouTube channel so that way you can see all the new content.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing 2 episodes a week.
Yep.
You're going to be guaranteed an episode of me and the homie Evan, and then one with a guest that either myself or Evan brings in, and we'll see what we talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, brother, as always, I appreciate you. You be easy.
Deuce.
Gang.